Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Capture Points, the Overwatch podcast of GosuGamers.net. I'm your host, Nidra, and joining me, as last time, are literally the most wonderful people in the universe, my colleagues, Manmode, Mariest, and Hexagrams. They are so wonderful. I am so excited to be hosting the second episode of the podcast, and today we are going to be talking competitive Overwatch, esports kind of things, and it's a topic I think all very dear to us guys because we have been writing about competitive games for a long time. Before we go into news recap and metagame analysis and hero tier list, which will be our topics for tonight, how are you doing in this wonderful evening slash morning post Thanksgiving? Especially for you Americans.
I gave a lot of thanks. I'm doing good today. Feel thankful. Feel blessed. Hashtag blessed. That's something
I
people
ate way
say,
too
right?
much.
You ate too much.
Way
Okay.
too much.
Are you thankful for this as well? To have like obnoxious amounts of food while other people are starving in the world? Like, do you feel guilty or?
No, I feel great.
Oh,
Feels
okay,
awesome.
awesome. Because this is how I feel on Christmas. Like, yep, I'm just give it to me. Okay, more food, please. Tom.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I wasn't thankful for anything. I just took it as I'm European, so we found our own countries way before the Americans did. I'm good. I'm good.
Hey, I mean, we founded America as well, so this is we're kind of everywhere. This is why Europe is the best country.
I just love the use.
Jesus, I went full
Europe
American.
isn't a country now.
I just went full American for a second there.
I just love the use of the royal we in that sentence. Like, we
Yeah.
founded America. I think you guys talked about video games. I don't think we did shit.
So today on Capture Points, history lessons with people who know nothing about history. Yeah, it sounds about right. But anyways, this is our second episode of the Capture Points podcast, as we mentioned just earlier. And starting on with the news recap of the week, we've had the first real big tournaments, I would say, as if you can even use the word big so early in the Overwatch development, but at least the tournaments with some really big names in terms of participation. Now in NA, popular streamer Fishsticks hosted his Invitational, where Not Enigma won their second championship title after the Sombrero Invitational that happened 2 weeks ago. Now led by Seagull, this team is really looking unstoppable. They haven't dropped even a single game in their two tournaments they've played, let alone a match. And even though it's still too early in the Overwatch, competitive life, many people believe this is the strongest team in North America and possibly the world. What do you think, guys? I mean, they look astonishing, unstoppable.
I think their
I
team's
don't know.
really
Have,
strong
have they
because
ever played
Enigma's
against?
not on it.
Yeah, but have they ever played against Melty, the European team that's literally
No.
crushed?
Well, not
Yeah,
in,
I mean,
not in a tournament, so
no.
so
So
yeah,
it would
maybe,
be
maybe maybe like judging worldwide is too early, yeah, because we haven't had the international tournaments. But anyways, they certainly seem like on a different level, even though
I mean,
they're.
right now they're definitely like top dog, right? Everyone knows that. All the other teams that are competing in NA and scrimming in NA or who are scrimming against them know that like if we want to win, we have to be able to consistently beat not Enigma's team. I've talked to some other teams that were scrimming yesterday, and they're like, we're getting really close. We're like maybe with a couple changes in our roster and a couple few moves, like we'll be on their level. But I think even though they're top dog, they're not seen as like unbeatable by any means. Everyone's like we're really close to them, and I think right now they definitely earned the title of being the best team. But I think as more people play more, figure out rosters, as rosters get shuffled, they're going to be, a lot closer in competition to where Not Enigma is right now.
Yeah, I think what it is they're like the only like I guess real team right now.
Yeah.
That's really got all their stuff together. So I mean, of course they're doing the best because they're the most coordinated. They've worked with each other the longest. You know,
And as you said, other teams are catching up to them because even though not Enigma are currently undefeated, they had some very close matches against Hubris in the Fish Sticks Grand Finals. Like those I think that the first game where Hubris were attacking on King's Row was incredibly close, like a 2 minute overtime or something like this in the final push of the payload. It was incredibly close, and definitely, not Enigma still won it, but they did not look invincible. I
I mean, I
mean,
think I definitely expected not Enigma and like not necessarily that team in particular, but I knew like the first couple teams that were going to do really well were going to be XTF2 pros, just because how the game is called and how you're making your calls. I knew were going to be more similar to TF2, and we've seen people from other games that they do rather well mechanically, like teams of Quake pros and other FPS shooters, but the calls are not necessarily the same
yeah,
as they are in TF2. So you see like that synergy of them working well together already, and as teams play more and learn how to communicate better, that I think that's the gap you're going to see closing.
yeah. We're hesitant. They have been approached by Tempo Storm, and they're maybe considering joining this organization. We'll see how this goes. Nothing has been put on paper, obviously, because well, we would have known by now. But yeah, it's. I mean, we've already seen big organizations coming into Overwatch. I would fully expect Tempo Storm to step into it at some point, whether it's through not Enigma or some other team. But we already have Fnatic, we already have Flipside, we briefly had PKD. So yeah, it's exciting times
What?
for competitive Overwatch.
And there were the rumors too of Tempestorm trying to get Froyo Tech. Before Overwatch beta was even released, they were trying to sign Froyo
Yeah,
Tech, and I guess that's all rumors and everything and speculation. But Clockwork is former Froyo Tech. Clockwork, the best scout who's ever played ever. And then Froyo Tech officially disbanded this week. So there's a couple names out there. It'd be interesting to see where Banny ends up playing, considered the best demo man to ever play TF2. There's guys out there, and with Froyo Tech officially calling it kind of quits on TF2, some of these names might resurface with different teams.
yeah. Clockwork is amazing. If you haven't seen him play, go watch his Reaper games, and he's ridiculous.
I got
Yeah,
brutally
anything
wrecked by
anything
him
hits you.
yesterday.
Anyways, meanwhile, across the pond in Europe, good old Europe, Melty Esports conquered the Alpha Cast tournament, and they just destroyed it. I mean, it wasn't even close. They ended up playing PKD, I believe, in the finals, and those were games that were not interesting just because how dominant Melty was. Like I think that they played King's Row as always the first map against PKD. PKD couldn't even capture the points, and then everything got reversed. They destroyed a capture point in like under 2 minutes or something like this. It was one sided as it gets. So yeah, I mean, from what people have been saying, Melty are the best team in Europe even before the Alpha Cast tournament, and here now they have a bracket to prove it. I mean, again, it's go watch these games. It will take you about 25 minutes to go through the entire grand final, and you can even fast forward through Melty. It was they were just basically walking through people. I mean, there weren't even that many team fights. It was just one sided as hell. But below them there are a couple of strong teams that show promise, I believe, and we saw good plays from PKD. We saw good plays from Fnatic. All teams with potential, I believe. How do you guys see the EU scene, judging from the Alpha Cast tournament?
Well, I think,
Strong.
yeah, in
Yeah.
the EU scene, the Melty is definitely strongest, and we will see them come in action tonight again. So I'm interested how other teams adapt to their strategy. I can't imagine anything else than they watching the VODs every day and studying every strategy because, as you said, the VOD, the Melty just steamrolled
Melts its
over every
people.
team.
They just melt people, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's a little too early to tell.
yeah.
I mean,
I
it's all
mean,
too early, like, and it's all speculation. But I wasn't able to watch the games live, but I think I watched a few of the replays. But I don't think they did anything out of the box,
no, no,
like
they
strange. They
didn't.
weren't running like triple sniper or anything. They were running stand meta, but they were just flawless. Their execution was perfect.
I mean, we'll get to some of the comms they used in our metagame analysis talk later in the podcast, but definitely, team that's basically the European version of not Enigma. They know what they're doing. They know how to execute their combos. They know how to execute their attacks and defenses. Uh, you know, for teams to catch up to them, I believe they will have to find, the to take this step first. Tactical cohesion within the team, not necessarily on mechanics level, I guess. Because I think this is what sets up not Enigma and Melty from everybody else. They just know how to execute a strategy and do it perfectly. But yeah, speaking of tournaments and the tonight thing that Tom mentioned, GosuGamers, our site will be launching our weekly series of tournaments, both on Europe and on NA. $120 are up for grabs every week. There are a maximum of 16 teams, at least for this first week, until we see how things go. Just poll the interest. But so far, a lot of teams have been showing interest in the tournament, and it's kind of understandable because not only it's so early in Overwatch competitive 5, but Overwatch is a fun game. Everybody wants to be the best, and our tournaments will be one of the regular arenas where you can go and prove yourself. This is kind of a shameless pitch, but it's also actually true. Um, the EU Cup is going live tonight at 6 p.m. European time, featuring teams like Fnatic. I think Melty also signed up for this, so we should be able to see them maybe crushing Morpheus. And who should you be hearing behind the commentating mic? It will be our own Hexagrams, who is right there, right there. Yeah. So you will be listening to him talking about how awesome some teams are and how awful other teams are, and be really
Yeah.
obnoxious about his knowledge of competitive shooters. I guess, like, yeah. But yeah, it's ZPs is actually your co-caster, and I'm looking forward to this, man, so much. If I wasn't dying for sleep, I would be watching this. But yeah,
We'll have VODs and stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
ZP's.
of course.
I just met him the other day. He's a great caster. It should be fun. If I don't bring it down, which is a highly likely possibility. If I don't drag the entire production into the dirt with me, then it should be very fun to watch.
Hey,
Wait,
man, I have
wait,
faith.
we're to hype up our own events. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
if it doesn't suck, like if I don't suck, it will be great. No, you won't suck. I mean, I believe in you, man. Like I have to, right? For
Your
for the
your faith
tournament,
is important to me.
for the
No, but
tournament's
like
sake.
Sweet
It's
boys.
it is. We did some little bit of casting the other day, and it's not necessarily my sweet voice. It's just like I truly love watching Overwatch, and I've always loved watching TF2 too. Like I'm a decent player, but I'm not like as good as these guys. So it's really fun to be able to get like kind of the bird's eye view and the spectating. Like the top European teams are going to be amazing. I get to kind of catch up on that meta to see if it's any different, if there are different metas between the regions. Then we're going to come back on Sunday and we're going to do it for the NA side of things. Like it's just a fun weekend of Overwatch, and I don't think there's any way I can screw it up. The game's too good, ZP's too good, Gosu Production's too good. Even with my lackluster knowledge and unpretty face, I can't
what
bring
do you mean
production on that
lackluster
much.
knowledge? I wrote an entire post hyping you as the analytical mastermind that's going to
Well,
carry.
we'll
So
see.
yeah, we'll see. But anyways, like what you said about doing back to back days actually and on different servers is one of the coolest thing I think we could have actually done, because in the same weekend you can see these differences. Is EU playing differently than NA? Are they running different comps? Are they better mechanically or something like this? So we get these first regional comparisons that have been absolutely important for the storytelling of in other esports. Like it's always this rivalry. Europe versus NA has been the oldest rivalry
Yeah.
in every sport, maybe outside StarCraft, where it's like Korea. That's not even a rivalry at this point,
It's
right?
especially Blizzard games. For some reason,
Yeah, yeah.
Blizzard brings it out. Like Heroes of the Storm, the EU NA rivalry is just nonstop, and Hearthstone EU players really have no respect for NA players. It's pretty interesting to see. But with Overwatch, how you can kind of jump servers, it'd be interesting to see if we have teams play in both tournaments. If an NA team plays on the European server, because I've played on the European server from the middle of North America, and I don't have any real issues
Yeah.
playing it. So we can see metas develop, and we might even see teams playing in both regions and kind of a cross region thing. It's going to be an interesting kind of game to see.
Yeah, so
It'd be interesting to see whether teams will pick up like intercontinental players, so like NA teams will pick up European players because of that very little. What's this? Because there's almost no
like, yeah.
delay. Yeah, so I mean it's entirely possible. I like it. I like the prospect of. Well, rivalries are always good for a game, because it gets more competitive, and I like competitiveness. So it's really cool.
So if you are somebody who has a team of Overwatch players and you want to, try your skills against the best teams in the world right now, go to GosuGamers.net on slash Overwatch. You will find two top boxes. Well, on the top, one is for EU and one is for NA. You can click on those, find our hubs with information. You can find the registrations links there. I think the European uh, slots for today are basically filled. I'm not sure about the NA, but if you're listening to the podcast, just go check, gather your buddies, compete. It's absolutely open. You don't have to pay an entry fee or anything. We're putting up the prize money ourselves, and we just want to see some cool Overwatch, man. I'm psyched. Like it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. I love watching Overwatch tournaments. Like by far
And
my yeah.
we have bigger prizes than Fish Sticks tournament.
Yeah,
Hey man,
But
I
this
like
mean,
is a
you,
competition.
I have to give props to Fish Sticks though. It's really cool
Oh yeah,
of him
no,
that
no,
was
of
to.
just
course.
that was not really a
Yeah.
jab. It was just I thought it was
So
funny.
what you're saying, Tom, is that fish sticks sucks, right? So yeah, down with fish sticks, right? That this
Yeah,
is what you
quote
mean.
Tom on that. Tom said
Yeah,
he
I
hates
mean,
fish sticks. He said he would fight him in real life.
yeah.
I think the people watching this stream, please back me up here, and if not, well, I can still kick you out of today's tournament. So bye.
it's, yeah. This is as we established in the last episode. This is a totalitarian regime here in GosuGamers. So if you don't agree with us, you're a bad person, and we're gonna kick you out. Um, Just kidding, of course. Moving on to main topic number one of tonight. Continuing on this tournament talk, we're going to talk about metagame of Overwatch. It's been 2 weeks we've had tournaments. We've had a total of three, which is not really that much, but it's at least some bases that we can talk about. Hero picks, lineup picks, strategies, etc. Talk about some of the lessons we learned watching these tournaments. In both regions. And one thing I found out, guys, going through the VODs of these tournaments is that all but every character has his or her place in the meta. Like I've seen very few heroes that always get left out. I think that there might be just like one or two, maybe. And certainly we have like a lineup of our top contested picks. Not even contested because you don't have a pick or ban system, but highest sought heroes. We have our Reinhardts, we have our Mercies and Lucios and whatnot. So we have this top tier of heroes, obviously, but below them we see a pretty even distribution of what heroes are getting picked. Like I'm seeing almost all offensive characters, almost all defensive characters.
Torbjorn.
Yeah, we don't see a lot of Torbjorns, unfortunately, but we have seen offensive Bastions. So that's the thing. That's the thing. So let's start here. Like, what's looking at the general character pool, hero pool? Do you feel it's equally as represented as I felt it to be?
Yeah, I mean it makes sense though, since the game heavily revolves around countering what your opponent plays, making team comps that work well against their team comps. So I mean, even if something's not necessarily incredibly good, it's still good against certain things. So I think every hero is viable in their own way, besides Torbjorn.
Well, the Torbjorn. Well,
think-
here's the problem. The problem with Torbjorn right now is where you would run an offensive Torbjorn. Why wouldn't you just run an offensive Bastion instead? He's just superior at those aspects.
I think
Go
that
ahead, Tom.
that's the same logic when you apply on defense. Like if you defend with Torbjorn, why don't you defend with Bastion?
Pretty much.
Yeah. I think if you also look at the metagame, for example, what Melty and No Enigma showed during the tournament is that they switched continuously. They adapted and they surprised their opponents all the time. It was really cool to see, especially in the finals where Not Enigma won. I think they switched to Pharah, and then all of a sudden they changed Pharah and got in an extra sniper, and the enemy team just didn't know what to do because they were all over the place at all times, and it's very difficult to counter.
Yeah,
Well-
Go on.
I mean, as much as we want to talk about like how every hero has his place, that's true. There's niche picks, but in my opinion, like the meta's already getting a little bit stale right now. I guarantee you today in the tournaments and in tomorrow's tournaments, I'll be surprised if almost every team in every game isn't running Mercio and Reinhardt. Now you can add whatever second support you want and every second tank you want, but Mercio and Reinhardt are going to be on damn near every single team, and probably Pharah too. So you're going to stick with those two and then add 4 people around it, because I just don't see a situation in which they wouldn't be on teams.
Well, I
Yeah,
think that's fine to have
Mhm.
picks that are just kind of your standard baseline. Like this is the meat of the composition, and they're always good picks. I don't know. I don't see a problem with that.
No,
Yeah,
it's fine. But that is currently the meta we're in right now.
it certainly has been skewed towards more durable compositions. I would say where you want to sustain the over let's say speed or damage, because especially on payload maps this pays. Oh, sorry for the bad pun. This pays off really well to have just like a composition that never dies, because all you have to do is push the payloads, to the end of the map, right? With stopwatch rules, it's kind of a different, but you still want to never die and keep continuously pushing.
Well, right. I mean, in the tanks too, like the downside of a tank generally is mobility and speed, and which is completely negated on a payload map because you're limited to the pace of the cart anyway.
Yep.
So you don't really need to. You're not going to win with advanced speed pushes.
Yeah, and
Still, there's some merit. There's
Mhm.
still some merit to picking a mobile hero, though. For example, if you take Numbani and you pick a D.Va on offense when you're attacking and escorting the payload, then Numbani has all of these ledges and bridges going all over. So it's good to have a D.Va there or a Winston who can jump on there and just take down a sniper or whatever, whatnot.
Oh, you'll absolutely have a D.Va and a Winston. They'll just be sitting next to Reinhardt for a while because you're going to have that Reinhardt team anyway. D.Va's great to clear space, and so is Winston. But that is, the meta is double tank, double support right now, and then maybe someone who does damage. Maybe.
Yeah, the double tank has been really, putting itself as the, let's say, the go-to composition, I guess, with Murcio. I don't think I've seen any successful team run like a singular tank. Maybe if they want to break a point cap a cap point really quickly, they might run a single tank like in a Winston or a D.Va just to clear space and then have their offensive characters run in and take it. But still, looking at Devil Tank composition, you're just so durable, you're just so stable that you can sacrifice speed for, well, not dying. And I've been seeing, Zari is a tank that a lot of teams are liking just because, well, everybody's running Mercy and Lucian. Those are really squishy characters. Usually, you just shield them, and you add even more durability to your weakest link, essentially. Because if you can secure your Mercy to never die, this means all your other team will never die as well. So you're just immortal, man. It looks
Hero,
stupidly good. It looks stupidly good.
heroes never die, bro.
Heroes
Heroes
never
never.
die. Yep. Yeah.
When they do
Oh,
that, they're immediately rezzed back to life.
Yeah, Res is also the biggest part of the meta right now.
Winston and D.Va have also been emerging as off tanks, I guess, next to Reinhardt, because we kind of agree that you need to have a Reinhardt, whatever happens. Like, unless you're running something like Melty actually ran a hyper aggressive Mercy or Tracer, Pharah, Winston, and D.Va attack for cap busting, but that doesn't really happen every game. So Reinhardt is your go-to tank, and then like if you want to disrupt enemy backlines, you absolutely go for Winston or D.Va, and sometimes both. Like I've seen triple tank compositions that are absolutely ridiculous, and these are exceptionally fun because now the offensive characters, the snipers are never safe because you can never be safe from a Winston or
Yeah.
a D.Va for that matter, or a D.Va for that matter.
Getting
It's
jumped by a Winston is absolutely horrifying. The noises it makes, and then there's an electricity gun. It's just is the thing of nightmares. But I mean, what you speak to is the largest, like snipers not being as common. I think is interesting because like you have heroes that can initiate on them like so well, and like they're not even like backline specialists really. Like Winston's still a solid tank up front and kind of around the cart, does good shielding. But if you see a sniper, it's like, okay, I got it. I'm gonna time to go monkeys on him.
Yeah,
Now,
absolutely. I mean, mhm.
I haven't been able to watch a lot of the tournaments due to holiday stuff and working on other games and stuff. But have we been seeing a lot of like Zenyatta Reaper kind of stuff going on to counter these tanks?
Reaper, yes, I think, and it absolutely loves Reaper. I mean, because they have Clockwork as well, and he absolutely loves this hero. But Zenyatta is not a common pick at all because you have to run Mercio, and then if you run a third support, you're kind of lacking on damage.
Yeah, yeah.
I know that Ask Joshi, the Overwatch caster that we kind of all know, he said that they've been running um, like double Zenyatta compositions in scrims, and this is apparently working really well. I haven't really seen it, applied to a tournament because, well, first of all, we haven't had that many tournaments, so I'm hoping that I see something good at our GosuGamers Overwatch weeklies. But with the double Zenyatta makes sense. Like if you have another healer, maybe like a Lucio or even like Lucio and Soldier to provide AoE healing, you can absolutely go with a single target halt of Zenyatta and then just melt tanks because Zenyatta melts tanks. That's all he does, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
I think in competitive settings we might see Zenyatta a little more too because like the communications of Zenyatta, I always feel like he's like battlefield commander. You know, he marks people with Discord. You call that mark out, and you can know where they are. Like you've got Pharah, you can keep track of with a Zenyatta. I feel like he's really strong to push points too with Transcendence. So I mean I think he's a strong overall character to some like the pub games I've played. So it'd be interesting to see what people with excellent communication can do with him. Again, I don't think he can solo support, but I don't think anyone can solo
no,
support.
no, no. Yeah. I mean, not even Mercy can solo support. It's ridiculous. You just need so much healing. I think Zenyatta's biggest problem. I don't think we've mentioned it in the previous podcast where we talked about the state of supports, but like Zenyatta, you make one wrong step, like you're one out of position for a second and you're dead. And he has 150 HP. He
Right. You could
dies
run
to,
him with
to
a Choreborn or Symmetra, get him up to 200 HP might be somewhat helpful. But then you're running a
Then you have
Choreborn
to
or
run a
Symmetra,
sword. Yeah, you have to run a
yeah.
Tortor Symmetra then.
right?
Yeah, and you're still lacking a healer, so a primary healer, like a main healer. So yeah, Vascumer is saying in chat that the only thing worse than getting jumped by one Winston is getting jumped by five Winstons, which is true. Which is something we did on Hanamura the other day, and we won the entire map in under 2 minutes. So five Winstons and a Lucio, guys. This is a legitimate strat. I mean, we are the unofficial Overwatch geniuses. Everybody calls us that. I mean, the president calls me.
Ugh.
Yeah, hey, Overwatch genius.
Please,
Just
Rado, please.
yeah. Well, I'm telling totally realistic stories that you have to just okay.
I saw that video. It's pretty entertaining. Unfortunately, one Reaper probably wrecks that whole composition.
Yeah, yeah. I love how
Yeah.
they.
Probably Rex. It completely destroys. Or like
I mean, it happened. It happened in I think it was the Fish Sticks or the Alpha Cast tournament as well. There was a team called Salt Miners. They tried that strategy twice. They once succeeded with it on capturing the first point in King's Row, but then they tried it another time, and the opposing team had one Reaper in it, and they just failed. They literally the only thing those five Winstons did was give free ultimate charge to the enemies.
Yeah, all Winston is a floating health pack for a Reaper. That's all he is.
But
Yes.
multiple Winstons is actually a valid strategy. Obviously, not five Winstons, but a lot of. I've seen teams run double Winston and they just do bubble jump, bubble hop on payload maps like King's Row, and you can constantly have a protection bubble and escort the payload safely, and you pair it with a maybe even a third tank like Reinhardt, and you just never die. And when you have to push these final meters towards the end of the map, that's absolutely crucial. And you can also disturb super defensive heroes like snipers, like maybe a potential bastion or something like this. Like if such a pocket pick appears, you can really wreck them because Winston can be both good defensively and offensively. So yes, certainly never run five Winstons, obviously, because only geniuses can do that. But try double Winston. It's actually viable. It's actually super strong.
yeah, Winston's crazy good for taking out static defenses. Like I know a lot of people like to run Bastion or
Symmetrous.
double Bastion on Volskaya as the last point, and you just get a Winston in there and he wrecks it all.
Yeah, absolutely. So Hex, I have a special question for you.
Oh,
Where's Genji, man? Where's Genji? Why are we not seeing Genjis?
I think
I-
my campaign against Genji hurt everyone's feelings so badly that anyone with any moral fiber decided they weren't going to play Genji anymore. They took a long look at themselves in the mirror and said, "You know what? I'm better than a Genji player. I'm better than this." And so
Maybe
we've just
he's-
seen Genji
maybe he's
not hang
balanced.
on anymore.
you ever think that maybe he's balanced?
It has not even crossed my mind, not once.
Do you think he might be like balanced or something, like something weird like that?
It's
Like,
possible. I doubt it, but it's possible.
Well,
He's still not
to
balanced. He's not balanced.
he's also even more imbalanced because he now has this double jump dash bug that teleports him across half the map. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
you guys are all haters.
Yeah, I've seen some trimping with Genji.
Yeah. So
I mean,
apparently,
like, well, we'll see if he. I think right now, in especially the competitive meta, that there's just heroes that do what he does a little better in the right hands. Like, I don't know why you'd run a Genji when you can run a Tracer. You know, especially with like because his Tracer's combo, like her ultimate, sets up better with other combos. I think, whereas Genji's is fun to pick out an uncoordinated team. You're not going to see uncoordinated teams as much in
yeah.
standard competitive play.
I think he's way more, let's say, a pub stomp hero where you just pick against a disorganized team where they don't necessarily have his hard counters like May or something else. It's you can certainly wreck a lot of faces in pub stomps, but if you're facing a coordinated team, he becomes way more difficult to execute. And as you said, especially when you look at the tank meta that's currently popular, with Reinhardt, with Zarya, all these AoE stuns and disables, you grovel bomb or no grovel bomb. My hero's background is reaching out and
It's
yeah.
a gravel bomb pretty much.
It's a gravel bomb pretty much, but what's it called? Zarya's ultimate.
Graviton
Uh,
Surge.
yeah, Graviton Surge.
Yes.
Okay, so you grab surge them and then you bomb them and the entire team dies. It like Genji cannot really do this in one blink and one drop, right?
Right, and if you want to like deal with heroes that are above, it's do some long range damage. You know, say there's a sniper out there, and Genji is really good at dealing with that, and then a Pharah as well, not so good. So there's no situation where Genji is good where you wouldn't run a McCree instead, because McCree will shut down a Pharah, and McCree's ultimate is a little bit better again in a coordinated team push, and he's also good up close. So I think Genji's strength is kind of reliant on disorganization and chaos.
Genji's not as safe though.
He's
What do you
not
mean?
as safe.
Or not Genji's. Sorry. McCree's not as safe though as Genji.
You mean he's more
Yeah, he's
vulnerable?
not as mobile. You mean?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Not only
if
that,
you're,
but he doesn't have a reflect. He can't mitigate damage against himself.
Yeah, but what do you need to mitigate damage when you have so many tanks in
I just
front of
like
you?
Genji, man. Okay, I just
We know. We established that you're a bad person. Like you don't have to remind people every week that. I mean, we're trying to make you look good. Jesus, come on,
what
like,
if I don't want
for
to look good?
once.
What if I just want to play Genji?
Yeah, well, you
we
can't.
all have choices to make.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we haven't seen that many, that big of a variety in strategies. I would say just because we know like the top five picks or the top six picks, and everything else is kind of circulated around them. But do go watch Melty's hyper aggressive Mercy Tracer Farah Winston D.Va composition that we mentioned earlier. Like it it's good for capturing points. Obviously, not so good when it's scoring payloads because you have to, you have to put this mobility and aggression into some use, right? And it will only be useful when you attack points. Like it will never be good when you defend points. But certainly, showing that not every team needs a Reinhardt to slowly push through a choke or something like this. There can be, these invasive strategies that just rush you, bully you, and then you are dead. Hubris actually ran a similar composition as well against Enigma in the Fish Sticks finals, but they ran double Lucio instead of the Mercio combo. Now that's also something I think we've been trying in scrims as well. In our in-house games, just double Lucio, especially when you have to assault something so well defended as Hanamura, for example. So yeah, I mean, cool to see combinations. Even though they're a bit, one-sided, I would say. I still have faith for metagame diversity in the coming weeks.
What we're
Yeah, I
talking
mean, it's.
about,
Go
what we're
ahead.
talking about that composition that they ran, that was like the big push one. I kind of want to call back, do a little throwback here to an article that that Rob made a long time ago that was Composition Onslaught that looks really, really similar to what we saw. Just not with, because well, D.Va wasn't out then, but it doesn't have D.Va
Right.
and it's not double support, but it's really, really close. It's
When I was
double tank.
theory crafting before I even had it in the game, and then everyone told me I
Yeah.
was an idiot. That was fun. Thanks, Reddit. We did it, Reddit.
Well,
No,
you
but
proved
I
to be godly.
the notion behind Onslaught, like again, this is before I even got in the game, and I'd only seen some gameplay videos. Is like if you can move quickly from point to point and never let a team rest. Like you see it in TF2 as well. Competitive TF2 is based around mobility and speed, right? Even when you're running 5 CP, so the faster you can get from one thing to another without letting a team set up, the more effective your team is. So that's the notion behind it, and I think. Granted, right now in payload maps, we're not seeing the speed as generally as much as I like, but we've run stuff like that on capture points and just in house here. I'm like, if we can get first point, you switch over to that speed burst for Lucio, and you're already on last before they can even get their Bastion up, or in the rare case, a Tureborn up. So speed does kill in games like this. I think the payload right now is a limiting factor, but as more capture point maps come out, I think you'll see the Lucio speed buff being an important part of compositions.
Yeah, I was going to bring up this, payload being a limiting factor right as you said it, because I do believe it's absolutely true. I think, this kind of objective really limits the heroes that you can actually play, because, all these aggressive heroes, all these blinking heroes, they're not good on payload, especially when you're escorting a payload. They might be good when you're defending a payload, so you can blink around and try to snipe people from the opposing team. But when you're scoring a payload, you always need these slow, sustained, durable compositions, because if you die, there's a long roll back. They can push the payload back. They can set up defenses. It's really this is why I like capture points maps, like pure capture points, way better.
No, but I mean, I think there's some merit to having payload as well, because the game Overwatch is incredibly fast paced, and sometimes it's nice just to relax a bit and have good overview of what's happening
No,
all the time, rather than
no.
having team clashes all the time. And teams can pick their own maps in all tournaments so far, I think. So if they really feel like capture points is the way to go and the way they want to play, then they'll obviously only pick capture point maps. But I think payload maps are good for the game's dynamic, basically.
Yeah, it definitely has some diversity to the meta because you need those different game modes. It'll be interesting to see if we ever get a third or fourth kind of game mode. I know there's been internal talks with the devs, like they had tried to capture the flag, and they said they just didn't like how it felt, which I get with the ultra mobility characters. You just end up having like 5 tracers on a team capture the flag. So I mean, the game modes right now they definitely feel different, which I think is important. It's important that the game modes don't represent the exact same type of gameplay.
Okay.
But
And you
like
get two different metas. So you get a payload meta and you get a capture point meta.
Capture point meta, yeah. I
Yeah,
think that I think that there's already this distinction between what do I need to pick as heroes for cap points and a payload. I mean, we just talked about it, and I believe this will become the norm as the game develops. Like, if new modes get released, you will see other heroes maybe becoming more viable and other falling out of favor. And this is actually incredibly important, because this will rebalance naturally the strength of the hero pool. Because sure, let's say you have a objective that you really need strong, like incredibly strong defenses, like static defenses. Then you can make these Stormbjorns and Symmetras and Bastions really count. Well, they're not so strong in these current game modes.
Well, it's
So
absolutely the design philosophy of the game too, because you've got these hybrid maps, which are capture point, then payload, then capture point. They want you to be switching heroes. They want the meta to change within the game, within the map, constantly. Now, maybe we're not seeing that as much as we could, and it'll be interesting to watch today and tomorrow. Like when we're on a King's Row, are they switching now? Now that they have the point and they have to escort the payload, is there going to be a switch, or are they already rolling fast enough that they don't have time to switch? The part about switching heroes that's a problem is you have to die first. So
And you
switching,
get rid of your ult.
right,
You
yeah,
lose your
and
ult meter.
your alt charge is down as well. So I mean, maybe some of the switching isn't working out exactly how they want it to, but it's interesting that not only is payload a game mode, but payload and capture point are part of the same map in a lot of situations. Like King's Row, I think, is a really interesting map because of that.
I think it's the best map by far, just because how the payload route is also structured, because you will actually see hero changes at different points of the payload. Like you will see these very turtly double Winstons plus a Reinhardt at the last turns in the foundry. While you might actually want to have like more dynamic heroes while you're going through the city because there are so many side alleys you can explore and try to catch the enemy off guard, right?
It's
And
just it's really well designed because the first point feels very different than the last point, and everything in between feels like its own area too. I mean, it's a really well designed map.
I think
uh,
on Kings Row, maybe the last point's a bit too favored for the defending team because it's horribly difficult for the attacking team to get through it. It's really difficult, and you saw it like in the tournaments as well. That on the last point, so many times the game went to overtime when the payload was only like 1 inch away from victory, and then the defending team still won because they just kept on rushing in and kept on ambushing the offending team.
That's how last point should be, though, right?
mhm.
Yeah, but I mean, it
Uh,
just
I mean, it's the same on Hanamura as well. It's the same on Anubis. I mean, on Anubis, it's even more broken, I would say, than King's Row.
Right, but someone wrote an article. I can't recall who right now. It might have been one of us, might have been someone else, but said like it's good to have a last point feel difficult, so you get that sense of accomplishment when you can finally crack it. You know, if it was as easy to take as the first point, I mean,
Yeah,
there
I mean,
is right there's some bad stuff to really badly designed last points. You think of like TF2's Dust Bowl or D Dust, like you get stuff like that where it's maybe not fun in a way, but I haven't. I feel that the difficulty needs to be hard for last points. Volskaya sucks to get capture, but it's fun when you do. Anubis sucks to capture, but it's great when you do.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, every stage of the game should feel distinct, right? It's uh, you need to have a storyline, like a storytelling within the game. This is something that I've been talking about like for my entire esports career. You need to follow the stories within the game. Otherwise, if a story is the same or it lacks altogether, it's not a fun game to follow. This is why I have like let's say my probably unpopular opinions on some of Heroes of the Storm problems that it lacks storytelling, and this is something that Blizzard are trying to fix now by actually remodeling the KDA stats, right? That they want to show who's the best killer or whatever, because this helps relay like who's the best player in a particular game. But anyways, that's all from the metagame talk. I know that it's not much, but at this point we cannot really do a whole lot. I'm looking forward to revisiting this topic like in 1 month time. Maybe if we get another big patch and we have like a month worth of GosuGamers weeklies or something like this, and maybe some other community terms that pop up. I just want to talk about this more. And one thing I actually regret about the Overwatch character switching is that I cannot really make stats and graphs that I can analyze, right? Because this is like when you look at Heroes, when you look at Hearthstone, when you look at League or Dota, these are one of the most fun things you can do. You look at the graph like, okay, why is this hero dominant? Why is this hero sucking? Why is this hero getting contested? We cannot really do it in Overwatch, but maybe we can find some way to analyze the metagame and actually quantify it in the graphs. We'll see. We'll see in 1 month's time,
Yeah,
probably.
I'll pimp the GosuGamers site and say like, if you wanted to look at the numbers behind a game, that's the place to go. I mean,
maybe
the
we
amount
could
of work the
do.
coverage people put in to put the numbers behind Heroes of the Storm and Overwatch, or not Overwatch, Hearthstone, and pretty much the actual statistical numbers behind esports is incredible. And if anyone can pull off like what the numbers behind Overwatch, I believe in you guys.
Yeah,
Maybe we could do like time hero was played in a game. Like
yeah, similarly. I have some ideas. I'm gonna jinx my article totally because when I promise I'm gonna do something, something happens and I don't. But I am hearing the idea of how I can actually present the metagame in crafts or in some form of visual representation. But we'll get to this. Like if we get to this point, I think it's gonna be a fun topic to revisit in future episodes.
Yeah,
If you
anything
guys
with
get
pictures would be great. I can't read very well.
yeah, I cannot too. This is why I write. So, but anyways, actually, if you guys have some suggestions about topics that you want discussed on the show, like if you want to, like, yeah, talk about like I'm a Genji player and I'm actually not a murderer or an ISIS member, just send us an email.
Well,
Radoslav, what? What? Well,
Yeah.
yeah, just send an email at radoslav at gosugamers.net. Say, hey, Nigel, why don't you talk about this thing? And we totally will, and probably give you a shout out. No, certainly we'll give you a shout out on the show. But moving on to the, no, yeah, no, probably we do things for certain. Moving on to the second main topic of tonight, it's a continuation of what we already discussed about the metagame and popular hero picks. It's a tier list. Like which heroes do we think are on the top of the metagame? Now this is inspired by an article that our Overwatch section leader Nick DeRazio, aka DeRazion, did, who is by the way hosting this production at this very moment. So if we actually start trashing it and we go offline for no reason, he's sabotaging the show and probably sending nukes our way because he's so sensitive about his writing. But yeah, you can actually find.
It got a lot of love though. The article got a lot of love from like
Oh yeah,
Fish
yeah.
Sticks was mentioning it too. Like it was one of the articles that did really well among readers and viewers.
It's a fantastic article. You should definitely go check it out. GosuGamers.net/Overwatch. Just browse the feature section, you will find it. Um, I think it was published before the first tournaments happened, and this is why we are revisiting it now because I feel that a lot of things have changed. We've seen patches, we've seen actual tournament games, and the meta is kind of rebalancing itself now. What Nick Kroll, I think, at this point, I agree like 90% with what he said. But nowadays, I read the article this morning in preparation of the show. I feel like some things are a bit off now. This is as I said, not necessarily Nick's fault, but just the metagame has evolved to the point that some heroes are no longer viable or no longer so highly prioritized that they deserve to be on the top 5 list. Now, the way the discussion will go is we'll go through from the bottom to the topmost pick in Nick's list. Then comment on the position, maybe suggest which heroes do we think should be in the slot, and then also for all of you guys who are just trying Overwatch and are not necessarily attuned to the game still, or maybe encountering problems with this hero or that hero and maybe getting wrecked too much by D.Vas. We're going to talk about how you can counter them, like how you can play them effectively if you want to turn the tables and punish people with them. So the honorable mentions in the article were Junkrat, Zarya, and McCree. What do you guys think about this? Like, looking at these honorable mentions right at this very point after the 3 tournaments we've had, do you see any of these 3 heroes, deserving a higher or lower spot?
I think
Because I
Zarya
I think
personally,
is like I'm gonna let Jacob talk about Junkrat because if I don't, he'll be upset. It's his favorite hero ever. And Zarya's my bae, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about Zarya. I think she's right where she should be because she can't really solo tank. I think he might be wrong. Like the most important thing she brings is shielding her allies, which is good and it's helpful. But the most important thing she brings is her ultimate, because her ultimate wrecks teams. And in competitive settings, and even like just on pubs, people will get on board with like trying to follow up on a Zarya ultimate. It's a great noise, the Tobelstein or whatever she says, and then I mean her ultimate is just absolutely devastating, but it's completely countered if everyone else is dead and there's no follow up. So I think Zarya is right where she should be. She's honorable mention. I don't think she's the best of the tanks, which are above her on the list, but she's definitely got her spot there. So yeah, not top 5, rounding out, but Zarya's Bay, Zarya's life.
yeah, I would definitely support you on this because Zarya was one of my first main characters that I picked up when starting playing Overwatch just because she feels so amazing to play. The ultimate is so cool because when you're bad at aiming, you can just group the people and other people kill them for you. It's amazing.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. It's the tank to play if you suck at aiming. Well, Reinhardt is also there, but Jacob,
I think
okay.
Zarya can be higher, but it's just that Reinhardt and so Reinhardt's too strong. I don't know. I think she could even maybe main tank, but if Reinhardt didn't exist, so that's kind of the problem there.
Let's talk about the Junkrat. Now, Nick said Junk is almost at Pharaoh levels of power, but he isn't as effective on the offense as he is on defense. Jacob, you're the resident Junkrat player. What do you think? Like, is he an honorable mention, like a top 8 in the sense, or is he maybe lower or higher?
Junkrat is definitely my favorite character in the game. He's incredibly strong. His grenades are super punishing. They do a ton of damage. It's really quite insane how much damage he can do. I can almost one-shot a Tracer with a direct hit. But yeah, he's actually really not that good on offense. In fact, I don't ever play him on offense. I only play him defense because he can lock down an area really well with his trap, with his concussion grenade or his concussion mine, which is also really 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 high damage. But he's not he doesn't have reliable damage unless you're going up against something like a Reinhardt, which he completely destroys Reinhardt. So he's a really good counter to him. But yeah, no. If he was a little more accurate with his grenades, which I don't really think he should be, because I think he's fine where he is, then he would be better on offense. But as it stands right now, he's really not. You know, and his ult is cool and it's fun. It's not that good though, because you can take it out with basically 2 bullets from a Soldier 76 from an anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
2 bullets from an anything.
A soft wind comes by. There goes your ult.
But he has some really interesting flanking he can do with it too, since it can climb up walls and stuff. But no, I don't think he's top 5. I do think he's really strong in the right circumstances, and I think he's good solo. He doesn't really have to have a team to back him up. He's kind of a lone wolf, independent sort of maniac. Yeah, I think he's fine where he is, but definitely not top 5 material.
Right. I think just the biggest problem with Junkrat right now is another hero a little above him on the list, and that's Pharah. He's got absolutely no answers to Pharah, and the fact that she's in a lot of games and is popular in the meta, like
I don't know about no answers.
When you play Junkrat, you have no answers.
I can hit a Pharah midair with a grenade, no problem.
Yeah, but that's a Pharah's probably too close. You know, rockets are pretty good from far away. You don't really want to be close to anybody ever as Pharah.
Fair point.
Yeah, I think like the only hero we might disagree with where he's placed in the honorable mention is obviously McCree. Now McCree, even after the nerf he suffered to his long range damage, I still see him in almost every competitive game. From what I've seen, at least, you know, just the basic stats I've taken, people do prefer him more on defense for some reason than offense. I think on offense, the teams like to run higher mobility heroes like Tracer, like Reaper, and you know, McCree is just a great, let's say, semi-sniper defensive assassin, because saying defensive offensive character sounds stupid. So let's say defensive assassin. You know, the ults, like the zoning he can provide with his ult, like even if he doesn't kill anybody, just the point that everybody has to run away and hide for a couple of seconds, I think provides so much defensive capabilities that really put him somewhere in the top 5. Maybe not in high top 5, but let's say on the brink, like on position number 5, at least for me. Like I haven't seen any other offensive character used as often as he is.
Yeah, and again, I think that a lot of that comes with a Pharah too, because McCree will shut down a Pharah.
Yep.
You know, it's that anti-verticality hero that I think that's where he excels in my opinion. Also, I play a lot of Pharah and I die a lot to McCree, so McCree's probably OP. That's what I'm saying.
I think you and your salty bias, man. Always
Salt,
with the salt.
No,
I
this
think
is
you
not.
could. I think you
As
could
long as
replace.
he's a-
Sorry.
No,
Go
go
ahead.
on.
I
was
think
going
you
to
could
make
replace Widowmaker on the list with McCree.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not in the same
Widow-
ordering, but I think, yeah.
Yeah, Widowmaker is currently number 4, and we'll get to her probably. But yeah, I do believe that he has to be number 5, number 4 maybe, but not as high. Definitely not the top 3, because he definitely has his viable replacements, I would say. The other heroes, I don't think they do. But yeah, in my eyes, he has risen compared to where we put him. What, a month ago maybe? So yeah, number 5 on the list is Mercy. Um, and I do believe she has to be higher because Mercy's
Yeah, she
res
is.
is.
I think
Yep,
she
go on.
honestly has to be number one. Just
Mercy,
she's
okay,
number one. I think she's a staple on every team. Her ultimate is the strongest ultimate in game at the moment.
hands down.
If you know, yeah, if you what's this? If you perform it correctly. So yeah, it's Mercy number one definitely.
I would
This
be
is a
My
surprised
opinion.
if you see games today and tomorrow which both teams aren't running a mercy. That will be something I notice immediately because I
yep.
don't know how you run a team without a mercy against a team that is running a mercy. And it's
You
kind of
don't.
interesting because yeah, you don't win that game obviously.
Yeah, no, no, no.
But it is kind of it is kind of the play that harkens back to TF2. Like we got to kill their medic if we can make her drop before she gets her ult off. Like before he gets the Uber off, if we can get that pick, like that's insanely important.
Do you agree with Tom that she should be number 1 on the list, like the best hero in the game right now?
I don't think it's even an argument. I don't think it's debatable. I mean, there's clearly something that they need to work out with her ultimate, right? They're trying to work it out. They made a change, reverted the change. They don't really know what's going on. But right now, her ultimate is game changing, game winning, game losing, everything. She's so important in every game that I think, yeah, she's one and everyone else is debatable below that.
I we just got word from the man himself that Mercy actually is number one, but he doesn't have it
Yeah.
numbered on the article. So thanks for
Yeah, it
that,
goes
Nick.
it goes 1 through 5. Mercy, then Widowmaker's 2. But what's interesting is I don't think Widowmaker belongs on this list anymore.
Oh yeah, yeah. So Mercy number 1. Okay, that's. Let me start our new list that we can actually look upon.
We read from
We have
top to bottom in America. I don't know what you guys do in Europe.
we
Well,
what?
usually when you do a top
We do
five
it
list,
to
you start with
metric
number
system.
five and you go down to number
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
But in this case, he started with one.
Are you gonna argue that America uses logic
No, I'm not
when
going
we
to
are
use.
using the metric system?
I'm not going to argue anything about America and North America. I honestly don't care.
Okay, so number 4 on the list was Widowmaker. Number 4 on the list was Widowmaker, and I
That was
believe
number
we
two.
all agree she should not
Yeah.
be either top 5. Honorable mentions, nothing. Like, I see her so rarely these days, and a lot of this came from the nerf to her damage. Now, before, I don't think even the scope shot ammo increase was the thing. Like, the fact that she could one-shot people with Mercy Boost was a huge part of why Widowmaker was, competitive stable. Nowadays, not so much, and she's still, I think, more preferred than Hanzo in terms of snipers. But I see her so rarely in in-house games or whatever. It's just you like when you know the maps, you can actually hide from her pretty well. There's so many. Let's say intrusive heroes that can chase her and kill her down. We were talking about the Winstons, the D.Vas, that are actually in so many games nowadays. D.Va especially wrecks Widowmaker so hard, it's not even funny. So, are we in agreement that Widowmaker gone with the wind for at least for the time being?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I'd like to see her in a really interesting role of like offense right out of the gate. Say on King's Row, put her up there. See, maybe she gets a pick, then you just switch off her right away. Like use them as a momentum, as a niche off class thing. And you see this in other games too. Like we need a pick. Someone go Widowmaker for half a second, see if you get that pick, and then switch back. To a more useful character.
Okay,
She's
yeah,
she makes Zenyatta not exist. So if Zenyatta ever starts seeing a lot of play,
yeah, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, as of now, I don't see her, ever becoming a thing until something drastically changes, either within the metagame or in another balance patch that retweaks numbers. So who would we put on number 4? Because we had, what did we have on number 5 actually? What
I
did we
don't
have
know.
on number 5? McCree? Oh, McCree, right? Maybe.
Yeah, just move
No.
McCree up.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
in the new
okay, so
list, the new list.
on the new list, yeah. So if we put McCree as number 5, who do we put as number 4 instead of Widowmaker? And I'm thinking about Lucio, just because he's been Mercy's healing buddy in every single game. Mercio, the affectionate nickname that casters have come up with, is a thing, guys. Is a thing. It's in every, like, it's the backbone of every competitive Overwatch or like 90% of the competitive Overwatch games I've seen.
I'd put Lucio at number 3 actually, just because he's so versatile, and maybe put Winston at 4.
Okay, Winston and 4. Okay, interesting. Jacob, Tom. Oh, no, not Jacob. Robert, Tom. Do you agree with number 4 Winston, and why? If you do.
Well, first of all, I do agree that Lucio should be in the top 5 definitely, because he's he's so good, versatile as you said. I was thinking of him as well on number 4, but Winston, I could see him being an honorable mention, but I don't know if he's that staple enough to be, because he's really like, he excels when attacking, but on defense he's kind of a niche pick, I think.
Mhm.
So I'm not too sure whether he should be in the top 5.
I am with you that
I'll keep my answer short. No, Winston is not anywhere near my top 5, and yes, Lucio is in my top 5.
Okay, so should we pick?
Guys are
Should we
haters.
put Lucio as number 4 maybe, and see where we go from there?
Yeah,
I
sure.
think it's all dynamic and subject to change.
Okay, this is absolutely an arbitrary list. Do not take our words as a divine decree or anything else. We're just having fun and ranking a hero. So on number 3, Nick had Farah, and I think he's pretty on point about this one. What do you guys agree? Do you guys agree? Is Farah still a top 3 hero?
In a game dominated by vertical options, she's the best one, and her consistent splash damage output's great. Her ultimate is good, even though it's generally a suicide mission to do so. But I think Farah's right about where she should be. She's top 5, goes in every comp, good on offense, good on defense, great on almost every map. So yes, Farah's awesome.
Boys, yay or nay
Yeah.
on the Farah? She's
Farah-
really good. I mean,
As
Yep.
number 3?
mhm.
Yeah, I could
Yeah.
agree with that.
And just like she has so much. She can solo people. She can 1v1 them. She can kill entire team lineups with justice. Especially when you combo her with, I would guess, AOE stuns and AOE crowd controls. This is why Zari is amazing with Farah.
She
If
can
you
knock
actually,
people off of cliffs.
she can knock people out of cliffs. Yeah. Really really good hero. And yeah, aiming up in the sky is like, quite a difficult thing to do. Yep.
Yeah.
So for
so-
number 3, man, good old Quake rocket launchers owning the top 3. So at number 1, at number 2 in the old list, we had Reinhardt, and I think he kind of keeps his place here. I don't think we can have a top 5 list without Reinhardt. After we've been saying how he's the best tank in the entire game for the entire podcast.
yeah, Reinhardt number 2 definitely.
Reinhardt
Like
Mercy.
I mean, the only reason why I wouldn't put Reinhardt above Mercy at this point is because he cannot rest people. Like if Mercy, no, like
Can you imagine?
I mean, if what I mean is if Mercy's ultimate was something different or even like a worse version of Resurrect, I think Reinhardt would be the best hero in the game just because of how much of everything he can provide. Like he is not easy to kill through the shield or from behind. He is the best payload escorter bar none. He has a AoE ult. He 2-shot carries. Offensive heroes. Just I don't see anything bad about Reinhardt. He doesn't have a flaw.
I would love to read those patch notes when Reinhardt gets res. Earth Shatterer now kills enemies and resurrects friendly heroes.
This
Fire
would-
wave. Send
Yeah.
out a wave of fire that damages enemies and resurrects allies.
Would you say that this would still make him less OP than Genji?
No,
Like
no way.
Come on, I wanna bring something up that somebody's saying in chat. Devoid is saying Zarya is so underrated here. It seems she's broken as F-word, yet nobody mentions this. We spoke about Zarya a bit earlier, and I do agree with you that she's very strong. I just think that Reinhardt is stronger at the moment because his ult effectively does the same. It stuns people, but he has a way better shield. So yeah, I think he's
Well, I mean-
better at carrying the team forwards, whereas Zarya is more of a tank/support role.
Yeah, his
Yeah,
ult
definitely.
is Reinhardt's ult is a little bit better because they can't shoot at you still. There's so many times as Zarya, I'll get my ult off and I'm trying to do as much damage as her little Ghostbusters beam can do. And they're just sitting in my ult shooting me in the head. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. They're not really stunned. They're just all together now. But I have much love for Zarya, so you and me can be besties with the Zarya cults.
Yeah,
I think she's great, but she's more of a niche. She's definitely more of an off tank than either Reinhardt or even the last hero Nick has this on the list, D.Va.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, D.Va was actually first on the list in Nick's original article, but I don't think she's top 5 anymore. Maybe an honorable mention.
Nitro, you're reading the article backwards.
Still,
D.Va was
still.
What?
Yeah.
I'm not
D.Va was
reading the
supposed to
article
be-
back.
it doesn't matter. Like the numbers are so. Let's not get caught up in them. I think Diva's got her place. I think if I was to make a tier list right now, she might be pretty close to my top 5 just because of what she can do offensively to crack positions, the space that she creates. I think she does what Winston does, but just better. Her mobility, her
she's not as
ultimate.
safe as Winston, though.
No, she's definitely not as safe. You're right. But her mobility, her ultimate, she can be a great like one-off hero. She can get all that chip damage in to charge up her ult. Use that ult if you happen to die to switch over to someone different. But their ultimate,
put her
it creates
on
so much space. Yeah, she'd be around there.
All right, all right. So yeah, I mean, I love Zara, man. Like, I think she's really great, but as you guys mentioned, I think she does a lot of things well, but nothing really the best. Like she cannot tank as a Reinhardt. She cannot support as a support hero. She will never be as good of a shield or a Symmetra or anything like this, right? Because it's just a thing. It's just how things are, and she will never be as good offensively as any other offensive hero. So she's really, out there to fill up any holes you might have in your team and provide,
Yeah.
yeah,
She's jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
Like that's
yeah, exactly. And I don't think these heroes can ever be top 5. Like
Not an-
unless she starts doing 2 of these 3 things amazingly, she will always be like just outside the top 5. I mean, always viable because of how flexible she can be, but never excelling at anything yet.
She
in
would
my
be top
eyes.
5 for me in pub play. If you were to make a list of solo
Oh.
queuing, I'd put Zarya up there as top 5 because you can keep yourself alive. You don't have to rely on your team, and even though her ult is mostly a setup, you can do a lot of damage just with her and her ults if you make sure you have a full clip and you get the right people in it.
You get her damage boost up, and she's basically unstoppable. You can't 1v1 her at all.
No, it's beautiful, and it starts making this really high pitched whine that's terrifying. It's wonderful.
Okay, I think this kind of wraps up. So we had Mercy, Reinhardt, Pharah, Lucio, and McCree in this order as our top 5 picks. If you agree or disagree, just tweet at us. Feel free to express your own opinions.
Can I squeeze in one more hero?
Squeeze one more hero. Yes.
Squeeze in one more.
It better
hero.
not be Genji.
No, it's not Genji because it's mentioned in chat by TSM Vescumer and it caught my eye because he's talking about Roadhog, and I'm actually working on like an article about Roadhog and analyzing him and why he lacks and why he's not being first picked in compositions, because I think he's very strong and his hook is really good and he's really good at scattering the opponents. But the thing with Roadhog is he doesn't provide a shield. So
He has no
what-
defense at all.
That's absolutely
he's no defense. So at
Yep.
offense, he can be a good second one, but he's no
He-
defense.
He's an
And even-
assassin tank. Like he doesn't help his
Yeah.
team really do
Yeah,
anything.
exactly.
He can
Exactly.
pick players and shoot, but he doesn't. Even in his ult is pretty underwhelming.
Even
If-
his personal defense, he's got a health pool that's just health. He doesn't have armor, which reduces damage, and he doesn't have shields, which regenerate. He's just got a big chunk of health and then a self heal.
Yeah, but it is cool that he is huffing gasoline or paint thinner or something. That does make me admire him a little bit.
I think that the problem with his is that he doesn't really can benefit any compositions. Like certainly like what we mentioned about Junkrat, like he's a guy on his own, and they kind of were released together, so it makes sense that they fit this style very nicely, where they just go out and do their own things. But
Right.
now you will look at Reinhardt; he will always be an asset to his entire team. Zarya will always be an asset to his to her entire team. All the like even Winston's who jump far ahead of their team have an asset, right? Because they are there to do a specific points. And the shield can actually benefit the multiple people. But Roadhog, he's just, as you said, assassin tank. If he can pick somebody up, that's good. But if he fails the hook, he just sits there. That's all. That's all he does.
But like Zari, he'd be on the top of my solo queue list. I love solo queuing as a Roadhog. Keep yourself alive.
but only
Top eliminations as a tank. Like, do you have any idea how often I top eliminations as Roadhog and then just trash talk our assassins on the rest of the team? Like, what are you guys doing? I'm killing everyone and I'm tanking. Come on, get it together. But he definitely, like, he's solo queue. He's fun as hell to play, but he has no support for his team. So I mean, he's kind of a selfish pick, but really fun to hook people and shoot them in the face.
Yeah.
And
Alright.
if you guys want to squeeze any other characters into this and discuss them, probably because Tom kind of took the Roadhog card and played it, so I'm gonna give you guys a chance to do the same. Obviously talk about Genji and.
I like here. I'm just gonna be diplomatic. I like every hero. They all have their spot in the meta. They're all super fun. Watch me talk about them in the tournament starting in like
Except
20.
Torbjorn.
Except Torbjorn.
Torbjorn's really fun to play.
I
He's
still
just
feel, I
useless.
still feel like
Torbjorn's fun to play. What?
he
Yeah,
just
why
likes
not?
sitting on one place, man. It's
I think
I like
the character design alone makes me chuckle and it's fun. Like he's kind of stupid to watch and like his play of the game where he's dead on the ground is awesome.
Vascular is sharing our Genji hate in the chat. So the anti-Genji army is growing, and it will continue to grow with every single
Oh my
episode
legion.
until every ninja on the world is dead.
I don't like you guys
including
painting me to be the bad guy here.
yeah.
Just because I like to play ninjas.
I'll buy you a beer someday. When we meet again. So you just don't feel completely bad. But this was our show for this week, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We will return next week to talk God knows what. Probably gonna talk about more competitive Overwatch, and if Blizzard are so kind to release another patch, we're gonna talk about this. If not, we love Overwatch so much that we can just ramble on for hours, as you can probably see. Make sure to follow all of our work on Overwatch. On GosuGamers.net/Overwatch. We do daily articles, news posts about the happenings of the scene, featured content, guides, analysis, all this cool stuff. We're going to run a tournament in 40 minutes. So if you're on a European team and want to play, go register. I'm not sure if there are spots left, but if somebody doesn't show up, you can still maybe make it from the reserves. There's gonna be a hell of a lot Overwatch content coming from GosuGamers. Make sure to follow us on social media on our respective Twitters. Follow Hex at Hexagrams. Follow Menmode at Menmode_Hots because he is the Heroes of the Storm pleb. Follow Matthias. What?
I thought it was because he was hot.
Yeah. It's
Oh right. Oh
sexiest
Jesus.
man alive.
Right. Why
can't
didn't I think
confirm
of
this.
that? Yeah. Follow Matthias at Matthias. If you can spell it correctly, I can never do it. And follow me at GG Nidra. Also follow the site at Gosu Overwatch on Twitter. Go like our Facebook page. Subscribe to our YouTube channel /GosuGamers.net. The podcast episode will be there as soon as we can render it and put it up. Should be maybe even later today. We're still exploring how we can bring this to iTunes. We just have to solve some logistics so you can enjoy the show on your iPhones and tablets, on whatever you prefer. But this was our show for tonight. You will be seeing Robert's amazing face and hear his amazing voice in 40 minutes where he goes to cast the GosuGamers Overwatch Weekly together with ZPs. Go watch this. It's on this very channel, so don't go anywhere. Grab some beer or something else. Grab some food. Grab some popcorns.
10 a.m.
No,
10
it's
a.m.
not
where
10
I
a.m.
am.
No.
No,
Yeah, well,
it's 11:30 a.m. Not 10.
we are catering to the European population on this particular Saturday. So EU people, go for a drink. NA people, stay sober until at least lunch. This was the show. Until next week, have a nice day.
Bye.
Yay!
Yeah.
Great
Good show,
You
man.
guys are the
Good
best.
show.
I just wanna say fuck a few times because I couldn't in the show. So.
I know it's even harder for me because this is how I speak on a daily basis. Like fuck is like my hello. Like I like you. This is that's true. I mean, uh,
We peaked at 36 viewers. That's like doubling
Yeah,
last
that's
week's.
awesome.
yeah.